Just change something here on my maps. Just go ahead and keep that up just for a second. I'm going to switch it back over to the radar mode right now and show you what the very latest is. Get my little hand tracker back up. And there are the warnings, severe thunderstorm warning for the western parts of the metro area, but it's still a good, what is it, 3:10, at least 30 minutes, I think, until this line gets into the eastern parts of the box. But again, it is in the process of forming, and it is also intensifying. We're at a crucial time now because we have this intensifying line of thunderstorms, and all the upper elements are working together. We have a strong jet stream that I showed you on that last map, just screaming out ahead of that line and merging to the line. And then in the upper levels of the atmosphere, at about 25 or 30,000 feet, let me just get a little bit wider here. The upper level system is currently rotating through the area. I'll put an X for the upper level system right there. That is rotating through the area like that over the next couple of hours, and that means this line basically is just going to be exploding across our area, and that's why we've been so concerned not only with the significant winds before the line of storms gets to us, but also the intense winds that are associated with the squall line. So here's the metro area. We've had a couple non-severe showers. They do continue to pop up. Got a couple in northwest Rankin County. Not concerned about those becoming severe right now. And then we look back to the west, and look how that line in 1 hour's time goes from west of Delhi right up onto the Mississippi River right now, and right down the river coming up, got some intense winds approaching Vicksburg, down towards Port Gibson, and now as we get a little bit further to the south, Natchez getting in on those strong straight line winds. So we have severe thunderstorm warnings all up and down the western parts of the Mississippi River counties, down in Wilkinson County, right through Adams, Natchez. That'll move across Fayette, Roxy, over towards Brookhaven. Keep an eye on those cells that are moving through Natchez. They will eventually impact your area. Also head towards Nobody's going to miss the storms, by the way. This is why we had the threat for severe weather as high, because it was a situation where I thought everybody would see severe weather, not just here and there. And here is our line of storms intensifying. Still have some spin-ups across our Delta counties. There are tornado warnings, but we are under a tornado warning. Consider that as a severe thunderstorm warning as well, because there's going to be widespread wind damage outside of the areas. All right, let me stop it here, and before I going to take it back over to Adam. He's working on analysis over there. Let me just take you up and down the line so you can see what's going on. A lot of viewers here can see intense winds now already crossing Highway 61, moving into the western and northwestern parts of Sharkey County, coming into Yazoo County. Here's a little nodule developing near Valley Park, so there could be a spin up right in there. Let me put up some of my stuff that I can show you here so I can change this back and forth. And yeah, that's an area right there where there could be some kind of circulation, some funny business going on with that cell. And just a short time ago, intense winds were associated with that. And that's now up over the Valley Park area. Look at that. There's the update, right where we expect to see it. And now let's check our rotation. And in that line, there is some intense wind, and there could be some spin-up rotation in there. At least in the short term, the best spin-up rotation appears to be across our Delta counties. Let's go further to the south. Looks like a solid straight line of damaging winds moving across there. Really not seeing any kinks or bumps or rotation there. That's good news. Wind doesn't appear to be such as strong. And notice how we don't see the shear parameters present in that area. Let's go further to the south, right along that line, coming across Grand Gulf, down into Port Gibson, intense rain and wind. Alcorn, intense wind and rain. The Rodney community, intense wind and rain. And then there's Waterproof, which isn't so waterproof right now because it is raining to beat the band down across that parts of the southwest corner of Mississippi. And I noticed they had some damage down in the Natchez area. So right now, the southern end of the line, severe thunderstorm warnings. We're still tracking some rotation. But again, you know, if you're just kind of tuning in, my full expectation for the next couple of hours is for this squall line to race across the area quickly. Strong gusty winds ahead of it, 40 to 60, and then intense wind gusts along that line, which could gust over 70 to 75 miles per hour, and it's going to race through quickly. Quick check on the Vicksburg Skycam before we throw it over to Adam, because that storm coming right over Vicksburg right now, crossing the river. You see the dark clouds, the raindrops really getting ready to get hit hard in Vicksburg any minute.
David, yes, and right now we see here in Issaquena County some kind of intensifying bowing feature, maybe a quick spin up right now coming up on Valley Park. There's the update right now, crossing Highway 61. We just got our warning ring right over Valley Park. So David mentioned we were looking at that cell near Valley Park. That segment of the line looked a little bit funny, like something was trying to develop, and in fact it is beginning to intensify right there. So Valley Park right now along US 61 here in Issaquena County near the Newman Road area, Delta Wildlife Road. In these areas, heads up, very strong winds, and they go all the way down into northern Warren County right here near the Flowery area, Haynes Bluff, Ball Ground. This is Highway 3 that runs up through northern Warren County and goes over into Yazoo County. So next up after Valley Park, it's going to be over Delta Wildlife Road, and then it's going to cross over into Yazoo County right over here. So Elwood Landing, Satartia, Yazoo City's way up here. This is heading straight for Yazoo County. So heads up in southern Yazoo County, Satartia over towards Yazoo City and the Tinsley area. You see very strong winds now coming through parts of Valley Park at this time. All right, let's kind of widen out for a little bit. You can see Redwood down here, very strong winds. But again, where we're seeing that concentration of wind is right up here up Highway 61. Here's our rotation tracker again. Excellent presentation of what is going on. Straight line right here, but you see along that line we're getting little warning rings. That's letting us know within that line there are these surges. So here's some times right now approaching Kearney in about 9 minutes. We're talking Elwood Landing 9 minutes, Fairview Landing 10 minutes, Germania in 11 minutes, Holly Bluff in 13 minutes, Satartia 15 minutes, and Limerick in 16 minutes. So this is over here in southern Yazoo County. This will be in Yazoo County within a matter of 10 to 15 minutes. We'll put the radar back on. You can see solid line of heavy rain and strong winds, and also we see lightning in that area as well. When we talk about the shear, this is a product that we have, and whenever we get up into the reds and the yellows, that indicates that we have strong to very strong winds, okay? So when we show that product to you, and when they're in a straight line like that, that is a straight line of strong wind that is pushing through right now. So just kind of an explainer of what that is when we do pop it up back on the map. So let's get back here right now. We do have still watching that circulation there in Issaquena County. In fact, let me get zoom in down here a little bit to south of the line here, coming up on Vicksburg right now. We do see a little bit of a nodule right there. Let's take a look at that. Let's investigate it right now, coming up on the Vicksburg area right now. So here's Vicksburg. Again, this is Highway 61. It's just running down through here through Warren County. You see lightning and maybe some wind trying to surge over there into Vicksburg right now along that line. Cedars down to the Laterno area. Again, that's pushing it to the east at this time. But again, no tornado warning in effect for Vicksburg at this time. Christopher's here with us right now. Christopher, what you got?
That's right. Yeah, I'm looking at 3D. So on 3D, you know, we was looking at that bit of a notch coming through Issaquena County, and what we have with 3D is it lets us look up really high into the atmosphere. So let's go ahead and take this full there, and what we're looking at least the location again, is over there towards Redwood, Valley Park, again in that portions of Issaquena and coming on through. And so what I've done is I've taken a slice, and there it is right there. Thank you very much, Adam, on that. And you can see if you look a little bit into the storm. There is that green right there. So we're looking at, of course, winds that are going away from radar, which is the red, and then the winds going towards, which is green. And right there is where we have a bit of that quick spin up. Again, this is a location around Issaquena County. So continue to watch that. And of course, I've been watching the sky cams too. You know, there's a area over here towards Vicksburg. You can look right on the river. I mean, rains continue to pull on down, and we're looking on the Vicksburg Skycam too. You might want to pull that up, and I'll go ahead and toss it over to David. But I mean, it is really coming down over there in Vicksburg, and also saw a few cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. David?
Big lightning strikes. I was watching that too. Let's go ahead and throw up our Vicksburg Skycam. You can see the intense line crossing the river right now, and remember how far we could see? We could see it down towards the Mississippi River Bridge, down to Highway 80 and Interstate 20. You can't see that, and notice here all the street lights have come on. So it's gotten real dark over there in Vicksburg. You know, our cameras can make it look a little lighter than it actually is, but all the street lights have come on. So you got blinding rain and wind just pounding Vicksburg right now. All right, back over to the radar. And we did notice, you know, there is a little bump there. It's certainly something to keep an eye on associated with that cell right now, which does have a severe thunderstorm warning associated with it right now. So that warning will continue until about 4 o'clock, and we'll see that get expanded over into the Jackson area as well. So watching that cell as it does head our way. Now keep in mind, here in the Jackson metro area, we are seeing some pretty significant wind gusts move through out ahead of the line of storms. 40 to 60 miles per hour had the tree reported down on Capitol near West. So there's just a lot going on even outside of our main line of storms. So those showers which popped up over the immediate Jackson metro area have shifted off to the east right now, and they do continue to move away. All right, here is radar in motion. You can see that severe thunderstorm warning pop up. Let me just turn that off right now. And right across Vicksburg, getting hammered pretty hard by blinding rain, and the winds really pick up. Now, keep in mind also that once this rain comes across the area, the winds will go down further to the south along this line, coming up onto Port Gibson. Nice little surge there with some wind. There's been some reports even before the line got there of power outages in and around Port Gibson. I think my wife may have sent me a text message that the power was out at our house, so I'll have to double check on that. So maybe parts of Rankin County. We have a lot of trees in our neighborhood, so who knows what's going on with that. But got the warnings down into the Vicksburg, right down the river towards Natchez. These are all severe thunderstorm warnings for damaging winds. And the cell, or actually the line of severe storms crossing the river near Vicksburg, basically between Vicksburg and Port Gibson, is headed towards the metro area. Let me stop this. And again, notice down here just to the east of Port Gibson, this is just another area to watch. There could be some funny business developing here. When I say that, maybe some kind of circulation trying to form. We just see a little bit of a nodule there. Right now, it just looks like some really strong winds associated with that down there, 50 miles per hour. Just click down on some spots what the radar is picking up. So right now, those winds look like they're pretty close to 50 miles per hour associated with that line. But we don't really see a lot of rotation down towards Port Gibson, but certainly some really strong winds. And we'll just check in with our rotation right now. Not a lot of rotation. So blinding rain and strong straight line winds right in this area. But this is an area that we'll keep an eye on, because that is going to move off to the east, northeast, and where this developing area would actually end up heading to would be up here, maybe into southern Rankin County and the northern parts of Copiah County. So just keeping an eye on that, one of those parts of the storm cells that we're watching. Is it going to be a push, or will we get a little bit of rotation on there? But right now, we're seeing mainly, for the most part, for the majority of the viewing area, it's all severe thunderstorm warnings right now, except for our Delta counties, where we've exhibited a little bit of rotation. So we'll just stop it and go up into that area for the areas to the northwest of the Jackson area. And here we are moving across Highway 3. This is Redwood, and look at Oak Ridge Community, Adams Landing. So you go up Highway 3 right there. There's a little bit of a nodule, and we'll check with the velocity right in there. Let me put it in motion. A lot of times a still picture does not tell you the justice of it. And yeah, there might be some rotation in there, but I think we're seeing a transformation of that big push from the west, and primarily this is straight line winds in this area right now. Tornado warning does continue right now, but it looks like damaging winds certainly going to take over here. And again, that's by this thin area of rotation. Yeah, you could get a spin up in there, but it looks like really dangerous winds developing. And ooh, look at here, we got winds approaching 100 miles per hour in gusts. Boy, that is some nasty winds there. Here's Yazoo City, just to give you a perspective. Yazoo City, Fittler, Mississippi River, and there is some intense winds being picked up right in there. And you can see we do have a warning ring associated with that cell moving in. I'm going to get a little bit closer because, boy, I'll tell you, those winds really look like they're nasty, and they're going to be coming into the western parts of Yazoo County before long. Here again, there certainly could be a spin up in there, but it's just a really significant push of probably in most of the areas straight line winds, and there could be a spin up in there. That's why we were saying earlier, as we started our coverage a while ago, that don't underestimate severe thunderstorm warnings today, because the winds that are going to be associated with this line of storms are going to be significant gusts. They could be damaging, and we could see in areas where we get the concentration of the winds, or segments that bow where the winds concentrate, there certainly could be damage that's almost tornado-like. Let me just stop this. And again here now, let's just see what the velocity looks like. I'm going to put I was watching this area right here. I'll circle it right in this area here, seeing just a little bit of a circulation, but at least for right now, still looks like primarily straight line winds. So a push, and we're really seeing a push of wind now. The whole conglomeration of the weather system really appears to be coming together. The upper level system is swinging through, and it's giving that whole line a big surge and push off to the east. All right, let me give you the wide view of the WAPT area right now, and here you can see where the impacts are from the northwest parts of the area, go up into the delta, severe thunderstorm warnings, and then we just have this little area where we've had rotation and some severe thunderstorm warnings in there. That intense line crossing the Mississippi River now at Vicksburg, right down Highway 61 towards Fayette, through Port Gibson. Looks like the worst of the weather, it's still raining pretty hard in Natchez, but it looks like the worst of the weather has now shifted off to your east. So the majority of the viewing area under severe thunderstorm warnings, but we do have a couple tornado warnings in our Delta counties. Again, these showers popping up across the metro area, they don't look like they're going to be severe. All right, let's go back over to 3D just quickly here. And Christopher, where did you say that was? It looks like a tree blown over?
Yeah, it's over towards the governor's mansion. Non-severe thunderstorm wind gusts. That's actually coming from Kristana.
Oh, Kristana sent that in. Well, yeah, these are those 40 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts.
Yes.
That we see, and then of course, capital near west. All right, that's what's going on, and there's a lot going on. And Adam, what have you been looking at?
I got a couple reports too, David. A roof blown off a house on Low Stowe Road in Eagle Lake. That's from the Warren County EMA, so a roof blown off a house. Also, too, a tree down on Hoy Road in Madison from these pressure gradient winds, these winds of 40 to 50 miles per hour. Okay, I'm going to go over to the quad monitor here real quick and show you what we're looking at with this line of very intense wind that is now moving through parts of the Delta. And I tell you what, it looks like the strongest winds with this line are here in our southern Delta counties, and you see all this lightning that is clustered right near the Hollandale area, and we do see a lot of circulation in that area as well. The winds are very high as well. David showed you on the severe weather button, over 100 miles an hour or near 100 miles an hour there. This is a southern Washington County there. Of course, that's moving toward Belzona. So if you live in Belzona, heads up. Also, we see some lightning cluster down here near the Rolling Fork area. So I kind of did just a wide fan swath time track of what we're expecting as it moves across parts of the southern Delta. Again, these are some of the times of arrival here here on the screen. We're talking Silver City, 8 minutes, Belzona, 8 minutes for this intense part of the storm right now to move into your region. Morgan City up here, this is up in LaFleur County, 18 minutes. We're talking Chula, 25 minutes, Greenwood in about 30 minutes, and then Carrollton in parts of Carroll County in about 40 minutes. And that line's going to surge ahead again. These are moving 60 to 65 miles per hour. Here's a look at the severe weather button, and look at that yellow. You see that right there? That indicates we have winds around 100 miles an hour, and that's right where our warning ring is there in southern Washington County at this time. And these reds indicate winds approaching 70 to 80 miles an hour. That's near the Panther Burn area there in Sharkey County. That's about to move over into parts of Humphreys County. Again, this is Belzona, Silver City, Carter, Louise. In this area, these nasty winds are about to push into your region at this time. Also, too, we have some nasty winds coming up on the Rolling Fork area. Watching this, too, this cluster of lightning near Sharkey County. And again, that's moving up towards Yazoo County as well. Again, Yazoo City in about 15 minutes, Lexington in about 30 minutes, Durant in about 50 minutes. This line of nasty wind is going to be moving up across parts of Yazoo County. Christopher, you have something for us?
Yeah, on 3D, I've actually got some more photos to show you, too. And this is actually coming in from Kristana. She's saying that this is coming from North Bay. And now that tree has fallen over. Now, this is non-thunderstorm wind gust that has come through, and it has knocked out power as it has been through at least portions of, portions ahead of that line. I mean, these winds are knocking at least about 40 to 50 mile an hour wind gusts at times, even greater in some areas. So again, that is knocking out some power. So again, that was in North Bay, and that was a non-severe thunderstorm wind gust across Hoy Road. So continue to track that. And there also was a report actually over here towards Eagle Lake. Eagle Lake now reporting at least a roof that has blown off of a house on Lowstow Road. Again, that was through Eagle Lake, so continue to track that as it moves off more closer towards Yazoo City. And Yazoo City, again, included in that tornado warning. However, again, as David was also mentioning, looks like a big bow out there with those really strong wind gusts that are continuing to push off now into Yazoo County. So 2 storm reports coming in from 2 trees down along Sea Island Drive on Eagle Lake, and then also that roof that has been blown off the house. Again, as Dave was saying too, no surprise there, because I mean that was some pretty strong winds that did move through that area. So continue to track that. I'll continue to monitor social media. Be sure to send your damaged photos after the storm, of course. Be sure to stay safe, and we'll keep a track on that. David?
Well, that's right. As the line of storms comes into your area, hunker down, batten down the hatches, and let it move through. Here you can see now, as we've watched it through the afternoon, that jet stream continues to feed into our squall line out ahead of that. And now those intense low-level winds moving into the Jackson metro area. So as that line continues to move over into the metro area, we should continue to see increase in intensity of the line. Now, do notice all the severe thunderstorm warnings south half, and we still have a spin up or two off to the north. Still expect that, even though we got these tornado warnings up, the primary threat, and with these reports that we're getting in and showing you, this is straight line winds and pressure gradient winds that are blowing ahead. Can we check in with our Vicksburg Skycam, please, JV, and let's see what's going on there right now in Vicksburg. Very heavy rain a short time ago. It looks like it's still coming down pretty good, but has let up. And now let's look at our Pearl Skycam. Notice the light's still on. There's the city. We're looking off to the west, and we do have dark clouds. We're still a little bit away from the storm. Getting to the immediate city area, I think it would be after 4 o'clock. All right, back over to the maps now, and got the jet stream, and back to the west of Monroe, the rain does end. Here's what's going on right now. We're under the threat of damaging winds. We have a tornado watch through 7 o'clock this evening. Significant straight line winds, 75 mile per hour plus, and there is the threat of quick spin-ups. Basically, the entire western half of the area is under some kind of warning right now. Severe thunderstorm warnings, for the most part, from Vicksburg south and north of there with that line. We have tornado warnings. We've had a couple spin-up circulations moving along in this line. Certainly by far, at least here the last 2 hours, there's been more spin up and little rotation in the line across our Delta counties, which was kind of indicated on some of our forecast models, and now expected to diminish through the course of the evening, and then maybe see that rotation threat shift a little bit further to the south on the south end of the line. Here's what you can expect now through the rest of the afternoon. I got these strong winds out ahead of it, the line right along the Mississippi River, and you can see the numbers, which are wind gusts, and that line coming through the metro area between 4 and 6, and then moving out fairly quickly once we get past the 5 and 6 o'clock hour. But that severe thunderstorm warning does come into western Hinds County right now and is in effect until 4 o'clock. Here's a close-up view of the metro area, and primarily right along this is all straight, but there's a little bump developing, and you'll see a bump here and there. That's where there could be a spin up, and still looking to the east of Port Gibson for a little bump. So these are areas that we continue to watch. Now here is the wind in motion. Look at the intense cell just to the west of Yazoo City, and these areas up here are under tornado warnings for spin ups in this line. And all along this line, there are damaging wind gusts possible in excess of 70, 75. Here is the shear, and you can see how we had some warning rings, dangerous churning of the wind a short time ago, and they kind of go off and on because the storms do cycle through it. Down into the metro area right now, all fairly quiet, but we're watching that line off to the west. All right, Adam, what do you have for us?
Yeah, about that little surge that is there into northern Warren County there near the Bovina area. A little surge of wind, a very intense wind in part of that area. And again, you can see the track of that. Let's go over to the quad monitor here, and you can see right now we do have the times of arrival there on the screen. So we're talking about the Brownsville area. These are some of the same areas that were hit last week with strong winds and tornadoes. And again, you can see a little surge right there coming up just to the east of the Blakely area and Bovina. Again, that's moving out towards Rawhide, which is out here. This is along the Big Black River here between Hinds and Warren County. Brownsville right here in about 18 minutes. We're talking Flora in about 29 minutes, Bentonia in about 30 minutes, and Kearney Park in about 31 minutes. There it is right there. And that is a very little significant notch that we have, and that seems to be increasing. In fact, let me step over here real quick and take some of this information off, and we'll actually get on the shear, because that is very strong shear right there. In fact, some of the strongest shear signatures I've seen all day long here, and you see how it's that S shape. And that's what we're talking about. This is the part where we would see some very high winds there near the Flowers area, coming up on Flowers right now. This is I-20 down here, and you see that S shape right there coming up on the Rawhide area. No warning for this part of the storm, but it is it's ramped up quickly too. In the last 2 or 3 scans, watching it back down here into Warren County, and this may be producing a tornado. And like we said, this would be a spin-up tornado within the line of thunderstorms. That is going to be the overall theme of today's severe weather. So Rawhide, Brownsville, and then moving out in here into parts of Madison County as well. But yeah, watching that signature right there, right to the north of I-20 into northern Warren County. David.
And then I put a timeline up on that. Tornado warning probably going to be issued for this cell that does have that S on it right now. So heads up, we got a concentration of really intense winds. This is coming out of really areas to the northeast of Vicksburg. Some of these areas, as we were pointing out, did see some action last week on Tuesday. So there you can see, still about 20 minutes away for Florida. You have plenty of time to get ready. The Nissan plant, 30 minutes or so, but definitely some circulation associated with that. And there, look how fast it is moving. So we got a really significant feature with that cell, tornado warning associated with that cell, moving very, very quickly with time. The warnings and all these features that do continue to move across central Mississippi very, very quickly. You know, you're looking at speeds of 60 to 80 mile per hour wind gusts, and then the cell itself is moving anywhere from 50 to 60 miles per hour, so conditions will change very, very quickly. But there you see the timeline associated with that as it is moving right through the areas to the northeast of Vicksburg. Let me take some of these features off so you can see. Right over the Youngton community, there's Oak Ridge. You really want to focus upwind, and let me just put the severe weather button where we're seeing right in this area, winds are in excess of 75 or 80 miles per hour, and there's just that little bit of a circulation associated with that. And again, now, while we talk about this little circulation right here, keep in mind all up and down this line, you're seeing damaging wind gusts. So even outside of the tornado warning, the threat for significant wind and damaging gusts is considerable, but right there, Rawhide community, think up towards Nevada community, Orangeville, and then eventually there, right here is Highway 49, Flora, the Kearney Park community. This cell is going to be headed up towards your way, and I'll put that in motion. You know, will it continue to have that little rotation on it that long for 20 or 25 minutes? It might, but then again, it's possible that it's just going to be there for a few minutes and then it will go down, but it certainly is an area of concentrated dangerous winds with that cell. Let me turn the warnings back on. See if we've got some intense lightning right over that area as well. Let me turn the lightning back on. As that moves in, it looks like there's a little bit of lightning in it, but it's certainly very interesting as we watch the weather evolve and develop across the area, that this line, I want you to see this, and we're looking at, let me get just a little bit wider for you. We're looking at areas from southern Yazoo County into western Madison County, and look how straight that part of the storm is. This is where you have your strong, straight line, damaging wind threat. And notice your rotation and your shear mark right here is just about straight. But then when you go back down a little bit further to the south, where you get that little nodule on the radar, and you look at our rotation tracker, notice how you get in there and you get that little S feature, and there could be a concentrated area of more intense wind. And this is where you get the trees, rooftops. Typically in here it'd be maybe like an EF0 or an EF1 quick spin-up tornado, and that's what that tornado warning is associated with that. And we're looking at that, trying to wrap up right in that area. This is what we mean by quick spin-up tornadoes. So again, now this is coming into the northwestern parts of Hinds County, moving across the western parts of Madison County, heads up, especially I think in the Flora Kearney Park area, maybe the northern half of this polygon. That's where this rotation will be headed. And again, it is moving, is it still 65 miles per hour on the speed of that?
Well, they have this one moving east at 45, but I went ahead and did 50. Yeah.
Well, let me put a little track, you know, right on there. And as it does move, you know, we'll estimate it. We'll cheat a little bit and go a little faster. And here again, you can see these areas that are going to be impacted out towards Lake Caroline and Reunion, still good 25 to 30 minutes away. So plenty of time to watch and see what this storm does and how it does develop. It's certainly very much of a concern as the area of winds significant with that little spin up right in there. And you can see that right over the Youngton community, showing those winds in excess of 75 miles per hour. Just a nasty line, there's no doubt about it. And within that line, you get these little spin ups. But here again, look how straight this line is, maybe a little nodule, trying to do a little something down there towards Utica. We'll keep an eye on that. You can certainly see that there is a concentration of winds right in that area where we're trying to get a little bit of a circulation trying to form. Certainly worth keeping a close eye on that. We'll check the shear, and that's just starting to come up as it does develop. So probably won't see much in the way of strong winds showing up with that cell yet, but certainly does warrant watching. You see how the reds get a little bit brighter. Something trying to fester up down there, coming into the southwestern parts of Hinds County, out towards Utica. Then you go further to the south. The brunt of the weather has already crossed Highway 61 and is to the east of Port Gibson, so the threat of severe weather diminishing. Maybe right along Highway 61 there at Fayette, and there's another little kink down in there. Let's check the velocity features with that, and shear. Not seeing a whole lot right now, but certainly another area to watch. So continue to watch these areas, just zip along, race across the area through the course of the evening. Now crossing the Big Black River and moving into western Hinds County very, very quickly. And as it does cross the Big Black River, it's crossing Yazoo County into the western parts of Madison County. Up here in Yazoo County, Yazoo City, you're still under a tornado warning with this line coming into that area. So let's get a little bit closer right into that area and see how that line is acting right now. And I'll stop it because you can see it a little bit better, and we'll just go right to the rotation. And you see we're still seeing these areas that are exhibiting the S features, which is a characteristic that can produce spin-up tornadoes. So this is all moving across Yazoo County right now, still to the west of Yazoo City, but got some really nasty weather getting ready to move into Yazoo City here very, very shortly. See the rain just off to the west. And again, just these little nodules in there where there could be spin-ups. Really makes it a tough forecast to see that. But there it is, just developing to the west, southwest of Yazoo City, and that will be impacting Yazoo City really in the short term, probably I'd say in the next 10 or 15 minutes. Keep in mind now these cells have been moving very, very quickly. And there you can see the timeline. Yazoo City probably less than 10 minutes time. So the weather continues to change very, very rapidly, crossing the western parts of the viewing area and making its way steadily from west to east, coming into the western parts of the metro area right now. A long line of severe winds and gusty winds associated with the line, and embedded in this line, there may be a spin-up tornado or two. Look at that. Let's stop this again and go back down here just to investigate how this little cell is looking. Got that severe thunderstorm warning. A lot of warnings across the area. I know sometimes it can get a little bit confusing for viewers with all these different polygons on for the different warnings. So let me turn that off. And there is that little nodule right now, east of Rawhide, is already past Youngton, north of Lynchburg. Here is the Nevada community, 49 and Kearney Park. So this area continues to show that little spin up and certainly rotation on that. Notice here, this S not quite as strong as it was a short time ago, but definitely it does look like there is some rotation in that cell right now. And again, this is northwestern Hinds County, and it's going to be moving into the western parts of Madison County. So with this particular cell, maybe some extra strong winds between Flora and headed up towards